Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Bandai manga realization Samurai Captain America, which is one that I thought I was going to absolutely hate. I'm going to be totally honest, I thought it looked super goofy in all of the production artwork. I don't know what it was, it didn't strike me as a good design. Honestly, even looking at the picture right here, I'm not in love with it. However, something about having the figure in hand, it makes me really like it. In fact, I like it a whole lot. Maybe one of the best samurai conversions for the Star Wars or Marvel characters. I don't know what it is. I couldn't tell you. All I can tell you is it's a really solid figure, objectively speaking, and that's what we're going to focus on as we go throughout the review. There are a few issues though, so make sure you stick around for that. And we'll talk about all of that. So let's go ahead and get this guy off the stand and take a closer look. And this guy stands just about 7 inches to the top of the helmet. The ear thingies go up a little bit lower, like 7 3/8. That makes him just about 18 to the top of the helmet and closer to 19 for the little feathery ear thingies. And the execution on this guy is really, really solid. The paints are all very uniform. We've often seen some spots on these guys where the paint's really good in one area and not so much in another. Granted, his is a little bit more of a basic design, and maybe that's all they needed was to just kind of cool it a little bit and execute a little bit better, and you're going to turn out with a really solid figure, and I think that's what they have here. I don't have any complaints with the paint. I mean, obviously there are little tiny issues here and there when you're dealing with washes and things like that. It's never going to be 100% perfect, but it's just really, really well executed. Very nicely done. You'll notice it looks like there's like weird wash going on here. It's just the curvature of the back with the texturing that they sculpted on there. It's just the way the light catches and leaves the shadow behind, so no big deal there. But the clean paintwork on around the trim on the face, very, very well executed. You can see those gold lines around the top. And I really like the fact that you can actually see a human face underneath the helmet, so that does kind of harken back to the classic Captain America look, so it's pretty cool. Skin tone's a little weird, but otherwise it's really, really solid. So very nice, very appealing figure aesthetically. Let's go ahead and talk about the accessories. First of all, we do have his shield. I don't have a problem with the design. It looks really cool, no problems at all there, except for the fact, and I'll just bring it over here so you can actually look at it rather than me showing you just photos, which you would look at also. Ignore the things I'm saying. Look at what I'm showing you. We have a nice grip right here. No problem with that. This part drives me absolutely insane. There's a double hinge in here, and that makes it so hard to peg into where it needs to peg into. That double hinge just constantly wants to go like that, and it's such a pain in the butt. Now you can peg it into his back, which is a good thing of course, and then into either of his forearms. And the peg works nicely, but that double hinge makes it such a struggle to get it to go where you want it to go. Very, very difficult to do that. Nice execution design-wise, that hinge should not be there. Total pain in the ass. Alright, moving on. We do have 2 fist hands, we have 2 gripping hands, and then we have 2 wide open hands. And all of the hands have a nice little star detail on them, which is very nice. You can see that mirrored down here on the boots as well. So nice little touches like that throughout the figure, pretty cool. We do have his katana and scabbard, which works just like every other one of these samurai conversions, which is just fine. You can also notice on the front, the little part that's sculpted in does have a little star on the handle or on the grip, which is cool because the big katana has that as well. It's a nice little touch. Very pleased with that. And then the last accessory we have is a throwing star, quite literally. It comes off of his chest plate and he can use it like an actual shuriken, which is cool. And they sculpted it on the front and the back for the star itself. However, the chest piece does not look like it was very well thought out because you end up with a white tab in the middle of his chest. Yeah, there's a little bit of sculpt work in there, but it should have definitely been painted silver. That would have helped. Like, just make it the same color so that when you take it off, it doesn't look weird. Love the idea of incorporating the star into a weapon for the character, and it pegs in nicely. Just definitely think it should have had some silver paint in there, and it would have been aces. No problem at all. So that's just a minor thing, but it's worth mentioning. Okay, on to the articulation. This little chin piece has a hinge in it, so it kind of gets out of the way. This top piece, it's pretty flexible. As you can see, it's a little bit warped, so you can tell it'll flex no problem. You don't really need it though, because he's got pretty good range without it flexing, so that's fine. You have I think it's just a single ball peg and then another single ball peg, but you can move the head around pretty well. Up and down's fine. Even a little bit of attitude side to side, full rotation, no real issues there. Most of the articulation on this guy is pretty standard for this line, but it works, I don't know, it seems to work really nicely. So you can raise the arm up all the way. Really, really good. Better than horizontal. And that's because this is on like a little separate ball peg, but it doesn't really move too much on its own. It just kind of, just enough. I don't know. It's a little bit different than most of the other ones, but it's mostly the same, so I'm surprised at how much better it works. You do have a big ball peg for the entire arm to connect to the torso. This piece right here is just kind of a floating loose piece to help hide the gap. And then of course you have your hinge in your shoulder, so that's fine. You do have a little bit of bicep swivel at the top. It doesn't want to do too much, so they gave you a little bit extra down here in the elbow. It's not the best design. You can hear it squeaking a lot, but you do get it. It does work. And they clearly did that on purpose because they don't have one up here. And it's okay. It's not like it's super obvious or anything. And you get the range. So I think that's all right. So you do have the double jointed elbow. It will rotate at the forearm as well. So if you want to bring that padded part around the back rather than on the side, you can do that. That's totally fine. Very squeaky, but really, really effective joint. So that's good. Now for the wrists, we have your standard ball hinge. Little tiny ball peg though, so be extra careful about that. It hasn't broken yet, but as you saw, the hands are on there so tight, it's very difficult to swap out the hands. So maybe warm the hands up before you try to swap them out. I don't know if this is going to break. It's very tiny, but they clearly did a good job getting the right plastic. And you have decent enough range out of it. It's pretty minimal because of the shape of the gauntlet area, the forearm part. But you can kind of tuck things in and move the hand around pretty well. So it's not a bad deal. It's okay. Just be super careful swapping those out. For the torso, not the best range. A little bit going back. Actually, a fair amount going back. Almost none going forward. Side to side, again, almost none. Rotation is fine. And this is a couple different layers, and some of the parts are connected and some aren't. So you can just kind of move these guys around however you need to pose them. Not maybe as intricately done as Darth Maul, but it doesn't really need to be because it's a lot less stuff going on. So I think that's okay. For the hips, you pretty much just have big old ball pegs in there. You can bring the legs out to the side, not too far, but probably far enough. So I think that's okay. And then going forward, almost horizontal. They do come out to the side a little bit, but you get pretty good range. And you can go back just a little bit. So that's okay. I mean, with all this bulk, I don't think we were expecting a whole lot, but it's okay. It's not impressive, but it's definitely good. You see the thigh swivel works really nicely. Double jointed knee works really well, so that's good. Definitely not the best looking here, but there's really nothing they could have done, so can't really fault them for that. And then for the ankles, we have a ball hinge, pretty limited range. Forward and back's not the best, but it is there. And then you do get a really nice toe hinge, where the toe actually is. We almost never see a toe hinge where the toes are actually going to bend. So I really like that they did that. And then just some nice detail throughout. So is it the best figure in the world? Definitely not. It's a really solid figure though. And there goes the star because I popped it off. But it doesn't pop off naturally. I just happened to stick this under it. So don't worry about that. But yeah, it's a really, really solid release. And I was expecting to hate it. And I don't at all. So that should tell you that it's at least pretty decent. And if you're into this line, then you're going to like it. And if you're not into this line, then you might still like it. But maybe not. If you're not into it, I can't really help you there. So there you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So make sure you come back for that. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. And in the meantime, keep collecting.